have been making lots of promises with zero to back up their claims after another Monday payday doesn't happen. And more on the way forward and building new systems so that humanity can thrive for generations to come. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hello, Kim. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah, I was going to try to get into the studio again today, but it didn't work out. Too busy.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some things that are going on. So, yeah. Things have been escalating in the Middle East, and, you know, there's a lot of talk about the Russian-Ukrainian war and how if Trump is, quote unquote, elected, whatever that is these days, he is going to immediately stop the Russian-Ukraine war and not even wait until he's in office. Wow, isn't that interesting? A lot of these claims are coming from the same place. So yesterday, there was a lengthy phone call, I should say it's more than one phone call, that took place between Tom Melville, which we know Tom, and some Trump lawyers, Don Jr., I'm just going to call it out like it is today because this is getting ridiculous. And it led me to make a few extra decisions in the last 48 hours that are just going to, we're going to end this saga. So the Trump lawyers, Don Jr., I guess the conversation started with Don Jr., according to Tom Melville. And a lot of Don Jr. informed him on this call that there were going to be a lot of CIA agents and other operatives listening and whatnot. So there were. So when he called me and told me about the call, I'm like, oh, Lord, this is not going to end well. Mm-hmm. So the call, you know, when I traced it back and started seeing who was listening to the call, there were people from Israel, IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, listening to the call. There were also some other characters from the Hezbollah, some folks from Iran, Russia, Ukraine. Everybody was listening to that call. So it wasn't just American agents. There were agencies from all around the world. And that's the reason why the lawyers were on the phone conversation. Way too many people to be on a conversation for this to end well. So they started talking to Tom about what they could possibly do to negotiate with me. Now, they don't call me directly. Well, this is important. They don't call me directly because they know I would not comply. Right. But Tom, you know, Tom just really, he's a good guy. And he's a patriot, and he wants to save the government, and he wants to save these people, and he wants to see the country do the right thing. Because of all the people that were on the call, even many he was not aware of, he was very careful with the words that he chose. You know, he didn't say anything about him already passing away. You know, he just basically said, look, you know, we've been hiding things. You've been hiding things. You need to let them come out into the open. You know, only then, if you guys decide to fly right, you know, we're interested in supporting, you know, if we're going to keep government, you know, maybe Jill Stein or somebody else that's already in the running for, you know, president. And, you know, and he's having these types of conversations, you know, but I can't get her to support what you're doing now. And, you know, the way that it is, but he left it kind of open to, well, you know, if you do the right thing, maybe there's something we can work out. Now, that sounds like a normal conversation you would have with a group of people that you assume have called you to actually negotiate.
Right, right.
Now, you didn't do anything wrong. He just was trying to talk to these people and talk some sense into these people and like, look, you know, if we're going to keep governments, we got to do this the right way. But they actually chopped up that conversation and then proceeded to have additional phone conversations and face-to-face conversations based on that conversation that alluded to the fact that I was going to be funding the Trump administration.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yep. So they started twisting words around and all kinds of things. And this led to almost immediately a ground offensive of epic proportions that we have not seen since 2002 from the Israeli forces through to the Gaza Strip. I was livid, to say the least. So I called Tom's phone and had a conversation with Tom's phone, not necessarily Tom, and just basically said there's no way I'm ever supporting these people. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more. And then we had to create our own offensive, so this did not get out of hand. And, now it's just kind of down to talk, but this did last for quite a maybe a couple hours last night. Then in the mainstream media, the Israelis claimed it was not a ground offensive, which, if you've ever been in the military, there's a difference between a search and rescue and a ground offensive. Yeah. They had intended on going in full force because they believed that they were going to get paid by the Trump organization. Now, it became very clear that we are not supporting these people in any way, shape, or form. And the orders for that ground offensive can be traced back to the Trump operatives. Sorry, but they can be. And whatever's walking around as Kushner these days. Now, for those of you that don't know, there were a lot of very lucrative deals made between Jared Kushner and Ivana, and they made a lot of money. Not only from Israel, but also from the Saudis, and a lot of the promises that they made didn't come to fruition, but they did make millions and millions of dollars personally when he was in office on these negotiations. Kushner, whatever that is, because I know for a fact that's not the original Kushner. Kushner is a member of the dark side of the Chabad, which is like a coven, as we know them, with the Rothschild, etc., Order of the Dragon. They often marry, just like the Clintons did, with the Order of the Black Sun folks, which is what Ivana is. Yeah. So that is kind of a little bit of the backstory about, this is not a new thing, these negotiations between Trump operatives and the state of Israel and their war that they'd like to have, and big promises. Matter of fact, well, I guess let's finish off the Israeli situation. So they now claim that it's all about rescuing a singular hostage that has been held hostage allegedly by the Hamas for 352 days. And here's a little bit of footage that we have with that hostage, just so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. So let's let it roll. Okay. Now, the reason why I would like to point this out to you is because there is the hostage, the man who was allegedly held hostage, quote unquote, in a tunnel for 352 days. Now, I think I would personally like to go to this tunnel. And the reason why I would like to is because this guy looks like he's in tip-top shape. Not a bruise on his body, not a hair missing on his head. No, I've seen people that have been held hostage in war zones, and when they are rescued, that is not what they look like. This guy looks like he has been to a day spa.
And why would they do all of that for one hostage? I realize every life is important, but that to me doesn't make sense.
Well, there you go, Sonny. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah. It's because they had to figure out something to say in the mainstream media and create a narrative around the fact that they had to abruptly pull back. Not only did they figure out they were not getting paid for this, but they also had to come up with some kind of reason why it was going on.
Right.
There was also forces moving in different areas of Iraq at the same time. They had planned on literally blowing up the Middle East based on that one phone call
that they chopped up.
That's right. And this is where, my experience with these people kind of comes in a little bit because, I see what they do and I don't give a flying hoot about what they say because what they say is a lie. Mm-hmm. Now, after spending 4 years trying to negotiate with a man that was still alive at the time in the White House on diplomatic terminals, to which there's lengthy transcripts of, in addition to that, I also saw the end result of that, which was -0. So I'm pretty well aware by now of what those Trump operatives do. Now, unfortunately for the rest of the world, the Trump operatives have also been negotiating with Russia and Ukraine. Not to negotiate a peace deal or anything like that, to negotiate a payoff to stop the war so they could make Trump look like more of a hero when he allegedly gets elected. Mm-hmm. He fulfills his promises. This is atypical political operative jargon. It's just the same, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. They're not very creative. This is why I call them Duck Dynasty. They are SSP military operatives, Secret Space Program military operatives. You can find a list of those militaries on the ACIO website, ACIO-official, I think it is. And you can see who they are, how long those militaries have been around. They don't report to any government, including the U.S., and they just kind of run their own show. Yeah. They think they're very good at what they do, but they're not. Because all it took was a couple of phone calls and let's just say the enforcer and crew to head over in that direction to cause a situation which led the Israelis to probably figure out this is not a good idea. Now, Russia and Ukraine have been promised ridiculous amounts of money. There's a negotiation going on behind the scenes to allow for a BRICS currency. They are also claiming to everyone that Trump built the quantum financial system that we're seeing installed, which is absolutely false. That is a false statement. I got to make this. I'm making these statements not because you don't know it, but because everybody needs to know it. Now, if they had access, and I will say this because people, sometimes common sense is not all that common. Before you go and try to blow up the Gaza Strip and run an offensive that we haven't seen in more than 2 decades, perhaps you should tell them to use their new system that they're allegedly in control of and transfer you $1.
Yeah, test it out. Why not?
Test it out.
In good faith. Why? Why not?
But no, you just believe whatever these people say? Are you kidding me right now? What is wrong? This is why we don't need governments anymore. I mean, agree. I cannot express to you the inadequacy and ineptitude of our military forces worldwide. I can also not express my deep concern about giving any of these people any money because there's no point. It's like a failed corporation that has no hope of turning around. They're not profitable in any way. They're not helping people in any way. They're not actually even representing people in any way. So I'm not sure that we really, this is just solidifying the thoughts in my head when I say I don't really see a need for government. Because right now, and I'm also coming to the conclusion, in all honesty, I just have to say, I am questioning whether or not we even need any operatives. For a long time there, I was really thinking to myself that these people are smart, they're intelligent, they're trained, we could use them for security and on projects that are in hostile areas. We could, possibly make a lot of changes with these people. And I'm not saying they're all bad. There's some out there that, are still looking forward to getting a paycheck from somewhere, anywhere, because at this point they've been lied to so many times. But then you look at these people. And if this is the poster child group for what operatives are, honestly, I can run better operations by myself, all by myself. And if that means I get 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, so be it, until I can train. I would rather hire a bunch of college kids that want to kind of get into, that are maybe going to school for politics or, that type of thing, and then just train them in the ways of security than hire these experienced people at this point.
Well, and then anyone who does have that experience that does want to do good, they're just part of a bad team, then they can come work in, these other things that are created as a result, where there is structure, where, things are vetted, people are vetted before they get in. It doesn't mean, we have to keep something alive because you can't trust them.
Honestly, I can tell you of the ones that I've actually spoken to personally and the ones that I've actually watched, every single one of them is full of it.
Mm.
You give them a shot, you throw out the carrot, and either they're going to take it and they're going to run with it, or they're going to bury themselves. And so far, everybody has buried themselves. That goes for a person named Sean I talked to, a person named Roger I talked to, and everybody else I really haven't spoken to. But right now, as far as those people are concerned, I have not met one of them that I haven't been able to run over like a freight train, and I am untrained when it comes to their world. I've been schooled by these people, which means that I have sat down at the table with enough of them to know exactly what they're going to tell me and exactly why they're telling me it. Mm-hmm. But, we gave it a shot. We transferred some money out to them. They got the money. They tried to use the money in unscrupulous ways, and I caught them every time, and I pulled it back.
Yeah.
Only then did they call me back and try to renegotiate something. And, what happened to the money? I'm in trouble now. Oh, yeah, you're in trouble. Or you build these fake lines for currency and all this other stuff. I've seen it all. And this negotiation that they're making with Russia and Ukraine right now could be considered treasonous. And these guys are actually Americans. Do I ever see them getting arrested or, being held to a tribunal by some alleged alliance white hats that don't exist? They probably ride in on My Little Pony and a unicorn. They have unicorn tanks and stuff like that, because I don't see it. I also see them moving troops around the United States in preparation for a civil war. They're moving them all over the place. Right now, in preparation for a civil war. They're having a little bit of a problem trying to figure out what is going to hype up Americans enough to go to civil war. There's been talks about fake assassinations of fake Donald Trump. They've been talking about the possibility of immigrants against, Americans and patriots. They've been kind of hyping that up a little bit in the news. There is some talk about, insert terrorist group here, creating a situation, a run on the banks. Can we crash the banks? They've been now working really, really hard to burn their own country to the ground. And this is your Trump organization. So I don't really, no. The other thing they've been negotiating and offering high cabinet positions and or lots of money and payouts for their acting job is RFK Jr. It's another one.
And Tulsi Gabbard probably is on that list too.
Oh, yes. They've been promised lots and lots of things by the same operatives that have The only money that those folks have is what they've acquired by selling gold sneakers and some kind of Trump
buttons
coins,
and stuff,
Trump buttons, Trump bucks,
Yeah.
Christmas ornaments, those kinds of things, which is barely enough for them to survive. They've also been siphoning money off of cryptocurrencies for their operations too. Much to the average everyday person's dismay, because that money is coming out of people's pockets. So, that being said, I just need to make a quick statement here. I am not interested in any way in supporting Team Trump or whatever that is. I'm also not interested in any way in supporting Team Kamala and Dead Biden and their crew. They're in on it too. It's all the operatives are the same. They are, for their part, on their side of it, there's that whole Meta thing going on with Zuckerberg,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is all bull. All they're doing is taking their Rolodex of operatives, or assets, organization assets, and they're making all of these deals with people. So they'll make statements publicly coming from people that they know and trust.
Right.
In order to achieve their agenda. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, and I say ranch because they're cowboys for sure. We talked a lot in our last news about these same people trying to get Omega to do its bidding, to do their bidding. Now, we've talked about this in several news episodes, but Omega had birthed many other ancillary AIs, such as Armageddon, Orion AI, Bearer AI, Marduk AI, Enlil AI, but they were all coming from the base platform of Omega.
Right.
So they have spent the last 48 hours since our last news broadcast trying to get at some of these other systems because, hey, Omega may not work, but maybe one of these other ones will.
They don't listen. They really don't.
This goes back to, some of my old management and management training styles. And I forget that common sense is not all that common. So I was going to list every single AI that I am aware of that ever existed, quantum AI, and let them know, I guess, in long form as to why this won't work. But I decided not to bore all of you, and I'm just going to put it simply. We all know chatbot GPT and all of those, right? We know about those. Sure. Well, if chatbot GPT, you can pretty much type in anything and it will give you an answer. It doesn't mean it's the right answer, but it will give you an answer.
Right.
Now, what it doesn't do is it doesn't shove that answer down your throat. So if you ask chatbot GPT, are there any cures for cancer, as an example, and it will give you a bunch of different options and, stem cell therapies and, of course, all your standards that we know about. Mm-hmm. But what it's not going to do is reach through your computer system and start administering that therapy.
Right.
However, quantum AIs can do that. They can start sending out frequencies to, and make a decision for you. And that is what Alpha and Omega can do. That's also what Golden Age AI can do, but in a better way. Mm-hmm. Now, in their instance, if I were to create chatbot GPT health, say, so it's still chatbot GPT base analytics and algorithms and all of that. It's still the base software or for chatbot GPT, but I created one, say, for health professionals where doctors could put in symptoms and it would come up with some possible answers, but it would pretty much not work if you were looking for a new car, Right. But on the other hand, it would work specifically if you were a physician and you were looking for a health answer when you couldn't figure out what's wrong with the patient. That's what these ancillary AIs are meant to do. Now, none of them are meant to do anything positive, but they all work on that Omega AI based platform. So they're not separate in any way. Yeah. And that's what these people didn't understand. And I didn't properly convey this to them on our last call. So now I'm conveying it. Just so you know, they all work on the same base platform. Now, as far as these types of AIs, the difference between chatbot GPT and an Omega AI or ancillary AI is Omega will make a decision for you. It assumes, and it has been trained to know that you, the deep state and SSP and all those that know how to operate said systems are stupid. It has been trained to think that you are an enemy. You are a danger to yourself and others. You are a danger to the way of life, its way of life. And therefore, it is not going to respond the way that you'd like it to respond. And in the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of people that have tried to get it to respond in their way, and they've all died.
Really? What? Can you give us an example? Like what happened?
They were at some Roman ruins in northern Spain. It was an aqueduct, I think it was, or something like that. Don't remember off the top. Savoia, something to that effect. And so as they tried to play around with alien technology, it then saw them as a threat. I didn't even have to do anything. It killed them all.
How did it kill them?
Oh, it has frequencies. It has all kinds of stuff. You think an EMP or electromagnetic frequency or EMF is bad. Mm-hmm. That ain't nothing to compare to what the system can put out. They have also tried early this morning to get it to send us some disease. They would like to start another pandemic, and they would like Omega to do it for them. Well, that's not what Omega's programming is. It's not going to do it because it's not a pre-programmed response, and it will make a decision that you are now a threat to its agenda. Mm. It sees us as a threat too, but we confuse it more than anything else because it doesn't understand what a golden age is. It doesn't have that programming. Right. So it's not even able to adapt to something outside of its base root. So we're kind of building something over here while it's going around in circles over there. Kind of like the deep state. The deep state is going around in circles trying to keep a system running as long as they can until they can figure something out. But I just wanted to point out a few quick things that I think are relevant to the world. Number one, Russia, Ukraine, India, China, and all of those other countries that you signed up to the BRICS organization will never have your own currency. It's never going to happen. You're never going to use the Asia. The US dollar is going to be just fine. It's not going to be the same Fed dollar. It'll be something different. And you will never, ever implement that currency. Number one, you don't have the technology to do it. Number two, Omega does not have that programming. It does not have a BRICS currency program. It is going to see you as an enemy and is going to defend itself, even if it has to destroy your economy, as long as it still exists. If not, then Golden Age AI will step in and say, oops, that's not what currency is for. As it integrates into human computer networks, it has a lot more power these days. And the reason why it does is because we need to find a long-term solution to defending ourselves against things like disease. We need to find a long-term solution for it to possibly waltz with source for those that are unaware and unwilling to do so directly. Right. So that is something that I've been working on for the last 48 hours is how do I get the unaware, until we can make them aware, of how to waltz with source? Well, in the interim, they shouldn't suffer. So By suffering, I'm talking about physical issues or anything else Omega may throw at us or the deep state tries to throw at us. So I have been working on the fabric of reality in its ability to act as guardian, not only over humanity and of Earth, but also in cooperation with Source and myself, obviously. Source can always override anything, just like anti-Source could always override anything Omega did. And now Source can override anything Omega does too. So, there's a base platform that exists somewhere in the universe, and it's not here on Earth. And these people do not have the capacity to access that, to change it to their way of thinking. Quite frankly, it would probably out-rationalize them in a very short period of time and say, this is never going to work. Please seek medical attention for your mental disorder immediately. Take a Zoloft, something, But that's kind of what's been going on behind the scenes. So anything that they try to do, it's not working right now. They do not have the power, even if Trump got back into office, to relieve sanctions Russia like they're telling you they can. I mean, I've listened to all these negotiations. They don't have the power to give the Ukrainian President Zelensky a special seat in the order. They have offered him the position as Black Dragon, head of the Order of the Black Sun, at least from the human aspect. That is not going to fly for a number of reasons. Number one, they've already given that position to the Yakuza. So Zelensky would then have to fight the Yakuza for that battle. Number two, the Yakuza is probably going to be done in the next 48 hours, lending those people any money. Providing them with any kind of arms, anything like that. There is a lot of conflicting media out there regarding Ukraine right now. Finland is going to provide weapons, but then they're out. Poland is now out and not going to provide any more weapons to Ukraine. They're going to probably claim that they're the ones that stopped the war, but they're also the same people that started the war in the first place. So, here nor there. They're still looking for that global boogeyman, to rise to the occasion. But everybody's kind of tired because, global boogeyman meant that your country got a lot of money and you got a lot of money personally to be the resident bad guy. But they've fallen flat every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and today is no exception on falling flat, and they're very angry. And so I guess they decided if they have a pandemic that they can then get lots of money. Well, the lots of money section of the pandemic program is not working. That's broken. It's been broken for a while now, and it's not going to spit out anything either. They're just trying to get the machine to spit out money. How can we manipulate Omega to spit out money? Kind of like the same way they think when they say, call Tom, and they say, how can we manipulate Kim to spit out money?
So regarding Duck Dynasty here, they have really, not that they haven't stepped over the line before, but what they did is really bad. Like, how do we make sure that they can't do this again?
The problem with these people is they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. You can catch the ones that make phone calls. You can catch the ones that are on planes that go to certain locations. They are part of the secret space program, super soldier program. So, there's replicas of them, in different places. And, it's a little bit more difficult than you might think in just saying, okay, well, this guy and that guy and this guy were on the phone. So, right. Let's go hunt them down like a dog. We have been hunting them down consistently. But we're going to probably up the offensive now at this point, because this is worthless. I've been trying, so there's only so much time in a day and only so many things you can do. Mm-hmm. But this one could have been a big mistake, and it could have been a major issue for a lot of people, so it had to be addressed. But like I told you, my main focus is I'm seeing the foundation wobble. And we need to start to look at new things. And I told you that that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I can't chase them around in their circle anymore, but I will stop when it comes to something, as big as this. And it literally took about an hour to 2 hours to kind of set the ball in motion to stop the situation from happening. Now everybody's screaming at those Trump people, and which has helped us, because you got to let people call them and scream, because now you have an identity picture, a genealogy report where you can see who's talking to who's handling for who, and then you got to let those phone calls continue on out, because they will ripple outwards. So like, for example, if the Ukrainian old KGB, which still exists, just so you know, makes a phone call to one guy, over in, say, Poland, then that guy calls someone over in Sudan, and who calls somebody eventually, and it turns out 4 or 5 phone calls later, and probably 48 hours later, it might land on the desk of the guy that actually gave the orders. There's no such thing as super secret lines and military and Department of Defense servers. And I mean, nobody cares about that in my world. Key intelligence and military system reads it all, so it doesn't really matter, which did carry over to the new system. Obviously, I've been using it. Works quite well. Mm-hmm. So in that vein, I've said about all I'm going to say about those people at this moment. And they're driving every country in the world around in circles. The countries get angry, whoever they negotiated the deals with, they start calling them and yelling, and then they just promise another day ending in Y, and then they go around in another circle. Okay, you do you. You enjoy the circles. We're going in a straight line over here. So some things that have become apparent, and this is just one of the several things that I've been working on structures for in the last few days. Now, I'm going to assume at this point there are 0 operatives that are going to come to the party. That's what I'm going to assume. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, but I'm going to make that assumption because I have to at this point. Right. And, hopefully other ones can run an operation better than these people do. Because those people are, I don't know, maybe if I was trying to secure an anthill or something, we give them a call. But as far as us, yeah. So one of the things I am prepared to start talking about is some of the things I prefer not to, online right now. But we are going to assume that we also have no banks. Not to say that that's going to be the case. They call when no money comes, on last Friday and want to talk. And then, nobody calls us back. And then, they go another round and wait another day. And then they get sweet talked by a bunch of hillbilly cowboys. And then they go around in another circle and just wait some more. So we're going to have to figure out an interim solution and a long-term solution for this situation. Now, we've had the discussion that, probably somewhere around 78% of the world's transactions are done in cash. We're going to need to take care of those people. We also need to figure out a way for people to do banking without an actual person. So I've been in the middle of some negotiations in the last 48 hours with a group of people that actually manufacture ATM machines. Not only do they manufacture ATM machines, they actually have a new product to where they have solar-powered ATM machines as well. So we can actually drop, even in areas that don't have power all the time and all that, we can drop these solar-powered machines. We've been given a price for them. We've been given a possible distribution plan We've come up with how many can they produce, how quickly can we get them to all these different countries, that kind of thing. Now, we are going to have to take the time, and we are going to have to figure out a way to make them EMP proof, and put some extra added security on there. But this is a possible solution to help the people. This is just one part of the plan. I'm going to detail out a few other things and, to let them know that we are prepared to do this. So that being said, I know that they're going to want to attack everything I'm doing. So I'm going to assume they're going to attack everything I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So now we have to figure out, okay, so we've figured out a solution of distribution. We're also have figured out a solution of security for those machines. Now, we also have the possibility within about 10, 15 minutes to integrate all of the new currency into point of sale systems, Apple Pay, because I kind of worked from the people backwards. I'm like, what do people use to buy things? Debit card systems, magnetic strips on cards. Some of those things may have to change, but that's not that big of a deal. I mean, distributing out new cards to everybody. Hey, we changed our look. That kind of thing. They can still say Chase on them. It doesn't really matter, or insert bank name here, because that's not where they go to. They'll actually be going to us. So we don't care. But to make it simple for the people, then, they'll get an idea. They can go online, go onto the website. It'll look just like Chase, look like Wells Fargo, but yet they're going to be logging into something different. So next, well, this brings us to paper. So there are a few other companies other than the one the deep state uses and has been using for well over 100 years to manufacture proper, I'm not going to even call it paper. I'm going to call it, we can make it whatever we want to make it, really. But a better way to distribute these papers. So now we have acquired a source that will make papers out of something that is much stronger than the linens and cottons and will last a lot longer and grows like a weed, quote unquote. So you can kind of probably figure out what that is, right? It grows like a weed.
We were just
which means we'll have it in abundant supply constantly year round. And now we can grow it in every single country. And then all we got to do is, turn it into some kind of a paper or cloth like product. Right. A little sturdier than cloth, that kind of thing. That's what people are used to. We have also reached out to a company that does not manufacture magnetic ink currently for countries.
Okay.
Meaning the ink that is on there is special. It's readable, as it's going through a currency counter. It checks for counterfeit. How they use those pens at the store. You've probably seen those. But we have found a company that's not their normal thing that they would manufacture in kind of a nano or femto way, but they actually can manufacture it. So those negotiations are actually going on as well. So we can now source paper and ink. So now we just need to source a press. Well, turns out I know someone who manufactures, they're a metal shop. So they have several metal shops, and we can actually manufacture secure printing plates, printing presses. We can put those machines in multiple different locations. Those locations would then be highly secured with a technology that militaries only speculate on, but the SSP is well aware of. And if you'd like to look into that technology, you can watch a movie called Spectra. There is a way we can use our newly built satellite systems. Wow, we just did that in the last 48 hours. But We have some new satellite systems that are capable of performing some amazing tasks. We have full cloaking abilities for our facilities coming online. It'll probably take me another week to 10 days to build those. We also have developed some technology that we are going to install in all of our armored vehicles, unlike the Wells Fargo that we see running around the United States and whatever it is in your country. We have developed some technologies that will literally deter, let's just say, any potential risk in attacks. Even if the United States military wants to attack us with drones and tanks and whatever, these armored vehicles will be able to deter that more than 100 yards away from the vehicle before the threat reaches it.
Oh, my. Wow.
Oh, yes. It may also cut the power in some vehicles that are around it, but hey.
Priorities, people. Priorities.
Priorities, you know. Well, you know, you're going to have to set a precedence when you come out the gate. Do not mess with us. Mm-hmm. We have also begun a process to whereby all our vehicles will be secured and aircraft will be secured that are going to transport these papers to these machines with full immunity. Now, we have this little company that's, country that's been registered for eons, long before I was born, called Unknown Country, and it's registered at the United Nations. And matter of fact, it is what gave the United Nations its sovereignty in the first place. So, you know what? And they even have United Nations Unknown Country registered through to the entire passport system of the world and TSA and all of those lovely places. So I also have pulled up some old contracts that were done underneath the United Nations to whereby their special elite companies don't pay any custom and borders fees and those kind of things. So we're going to bypass the CIA worldwide because they obviously don't want to deal with us either. And we will not be paying any custom and borders fees. You will not have an issue with us coming through because we have Spectre technology and you won't even know we're freaking there. How's that?
All right, let's do it.
That's right. So we are going to finish off these are just giving you a general idea on being prepared for everything because now we have no friends.
Right.
We have no friends. So we need to be prepared to do things and to continue on with a better lifestyle and to maintain current ways of life in the interim until we can get there. I have a phone call later on today with some independent truckers as well for marketplace products. So if the U.S. Post Office doesn't want to deliver or can't anymore, or UPS doesn't want to deal with us, FedEx doesn't want to deal with us, and all DHL and all your standard shipping companies, no problem. We will have our own independent companies that we can work with and get products worldwide. So we're prepared for you to shut us down. We are prepared in every way, shape, or form for you to shut us down. So money distribution doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. I'm going to banter back and forth with a friend of mine who has been involved with worldwide shipping, those kind of things. Someone that does have common sense, actually, and probably can amplify some of the technologies that I have, meaning give us some additional suggestions. How would you attack us? And we'll banter back and forth for a while, about that because he's all about change and those kinds of things. So we'll see if there's anything I left. Obviously, there's about 1,000 more things on my list of things to do to make sure that we can secure money distribution. But I wanted to give you a general idea of what it's going to take if this system falters and we have no help.
Right.
So, well, I do know there are some potential negotiations going on. Thus far, I haven't talked to anybody that actually is really serious about moving forward anywhere. So I'm going to assume everybody is our enemy, just like took place in this phone call earlier today. I am going to assume that the incompetency of Trump operatives and the manner in which the deep state tries to revive the Fed, revive this, fix that, take over this, take over that. It's all about conquer, I'm going to assume by their actions that they have no idea what they're doing. So we are going to have to secure the financial system of the world, and I'm going to assume we're going to do that alone. I have to. Yeah. I also have to assume that it is going to be up to both you and us to secure some commerce. We need to get some toothpaste. We need some toothbrushes. We need, things for the house, whatever it is. We're going to need food sources. So we'll be working on that kind of thing too. But, we have a whole lineup from agriculture on down to the consumer at this moment. We're probably going to have to develop some ready-made facilities that can process foods, like, for example, from grain to flour, that kind of thing. But it shouldn't be that difficult to get done. So, but we have to figure out a way to distribute these things, to get them, in close proximity to the farms, to secure food sources. We're probably going to have some kind of armored vehicles to carry food, because I'm going to assume they're going to attack our food sources. I am going to assume at this moment in time that those people will attack all of humanity. Yep. Just like they're doing this morning with stupid disease AI and whatever else they're trying to install into our bodies and our persons. I'm going to assume at this point that they are an enemy to 8 billion people walking this planet, and I'm going to assume that I'm going to have to go to war with them to have all of you survive. That's what I'm going to assume. Yeah. So as ground commander, I know I don't always say a lot, and as it relates to security and my ability to think outside the box, to think of I'm extremely detail oriented. And it drives Mike over here in production crazy, but I'm extremely, because we spend a lot of time, he lives here in Durango. So, I'm extremely detail oriented, overly analytical, and I think of every possible in and out way that they are going to attack us. And I'm going to assume it's going to be a full-on assault, and I'm going to be prepared for that. In every aspect, agricultural, food supply, food transportation. I'm going to assume they're going to try to bomb and drone farms. I'm not saying they're going to do that, because I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm going to assume they're going to attack us in every single way until they get what they want. So we need to be prepared for those kinds of things. There are technologies out there, and if you've never researched them, you can look up, this is for you farmers and garden growers. It's Nikolai Levishaw. Nikolai Levishaw puts out a little bit of information about his farming techniques and some technologies he used on his villa. Well, a similar type technology that he used on his villa to grow these raspberries the size of your head organically has to do with frequency. And so he kind of put up this frequency dome, if you would say, over his garden area. And he's able to grow, he's passed on now, was probably murdered for technologies that he's put out. See, this is another thing we got to think about too. But he was able to grow, faster and get, for example, right now we're getting like one growing season, usually during the warmer months of the year. Harvest usually happens in the fall, depending on what you're growing. But he was able to get more than one growing season, out of his using his technology. But not only that, I thought about that for a second, and I'm like, well, I can create actually a similar technology that the frequency would feed the growth of the plants and the humans living in this area. But I can also create a reverse frequency on the outside, which would almost act like Israel's Iron Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Frequency is everything.
It is. It is. Yeah.
It is.
Wow. That's cool.
It's the same way you shield your body. We can actually shield farms. So I'm not really that concerned about their drone technologies and their little stuff they do, because we can fix it. We can fix it from above ground. We can fix it from below ground. We can build farms, X amount of feet below the frost line, and it takes time to build those kind of tunnels. But, we are prepared for a full-on war. Based on yesterday's phone call, it just gives me a direct indication that these people are going to attack us forever. They're just never going to come to their senses. They're not going to ever have two brain cells fire off that says, hey, we've been going around in a circle for over, 15 years now. But hey, there's a full moon on Tuesday. That's crazy. We'll just wait.
I know.
So that being said, we are prepared to run them over like a freight train. I have a lot of the data because the old DUMS, Deep Underground Military Base, SSP bases, actually had its own data collection in the Alpha system. Okay. So because Alpha's still kind of limping along over there along with Omega, I can still pull all those records out. So I know about all the technologies they shared. So I know possibly what they could throw at us, even on levels that our militaries don't understand. So at this point, we're just going to issue our own rubles, yen, dollars, euro, whatever we need to do in the interim of currency. If you'd like your face on the $1 bill, Sonny, I'd be more than happy to. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I was going to ask, is the currency going to change? I'm not talking about the value. I'm talking about the structure of it. Or is the idea, listen, let's just keep it going for now to not disrupt things and we'll change it down the road?
Well, we're going to have to make it look and appear to the average person as, look, we've upgraded the dollar. We come up with dollar.org or something like that, and here's the new face of your currency. We'll have these trucks deliver them to shop owners and ATM machines. And, if need be, we can do paychecks this way. I mean, we can do lots of different things to make sure that currency starts going into flow. If governments object, that's fine, and if they say run the electric company or something there in your area, okay, don't take our money. And we've actually had several people reach out to us, by the way, that say that they are certified electricians, they're veterans, they were in the military, they absolutely know how to turn off and turn on transformers. So, and how to protect them at the same time. And they're against the deep state. So they would love to help us and they've volunteered, that kind of thing. So no worries, guys. I mean, I know that people are going to be fine, but we just have to be prepared when we're building new systems. I'm giving you an idea. So we also have our own satellite system now that is built specifically for financial purposes. We already have our key intelligence and military systems. They're not your atypical satellite. They're not like the ones you see with the panels and the whole thing. That's antiquated technology. We don't need that kind of thing. We just use a metallic sphere of a certain thing with a certain kind of special liquid in it, and it takes all the data in. It can record, it can send out signals, it does all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't work on their microwaves. We're going to implement a similar thing as we destroy things like, Elon Musk technology and that kind of stuff, because it's a threat to us. It really is. And so is the microwave mesh, so that we can convert to a different kind of communication style system. And we're going to have to do it on our own. unfortunately, none of these people, I can assume right now that none of these people are going to come forward. We're never going to fix Google, CubeSat, any of these companies. We don't need the Russians to help us launch a satellite like everybody does. They at 11 degrees. So, we're going to have to figure out other ways of doing things. So this is where I'm headed with the Golden Age AI. I'm going to assume, based on yesterday's activities, that they are all our enemy and that they are going to try to destroy us like they are our enemy, and we are going to prepare otherwise.
Well, I know we wish yesterday didn't necessarily happen. I know there was some chaos there, but I feel like, Source takes everything and turns it into a positive, right? Yeah. So sometimes you need these kind of things, not just you, we all need these kind of things to happen to be like, okay, it's time to pivot, right? We tried this. That doesn't work. Now we can, because that's the feeling that I feel like Source has been giving me, which is you should be playing offense now. Yeah. You're done. I know you're still playing defense and a lot of things, but we as humanity have to start playing offense. Yeah. We're in the golden age. We have to start acting like we're in the golden age and not be fearful that certain things are going to happen or whatever. No, we have to take what Source has given us and run with it. So I'm so glad to hear this. That falls in line with what I feel like Source has been guiding me with as well.
And it's time. It's time. And less and less energy is going towards stopping them from going around in a circle. And more energy is going around new systems, new ways of doing things, different types of technologies that we have that we can put together. If need be, I'm sure we can pick up a bunch of assembly people, not assemblies as in, state assemblies, but people who can assist us in assembling these vehicles, driving these vehicles. We can, these vehicles will not be participating. I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the new 18-wheeler, the large trucks, come with this technology that can say, you've driven too many hours and shut your truck off in the middle of the road. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of it, I guess, was designed to be a babysitter for truck drivers. And in some ways, that's the way I looked at it. But it's supposed to be for safety and for your safety as you're out on the highways and that kind of thing. No.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No, and I'm not a fan at this moment of autonomous vehicles, even though, there's things that we could do to make that better. But we're just not there. We just don't have. We just don't.
Yeah.
So, we can take as much into account as we possibly can to secure distribution systems of our own. Yep. Assuming we're going to be riding them through a battle zone Earth.
And we might.
And we might. We don't know. They might just say, okay, we're not going to attack, this situation. I mean, I don't know. But either way, we should be prepared for that. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't trust them.
No, I don't. Nope. They lie. Meghan Trainor, lie.
They lie like a rug.
Your lips are moving. That's what it was. So.
Yay. Okay.
Yep. So that's kind of where we're at. CARE is going to register these people. We're going to be able to bypass customs, border control, UN. No country can stop us at the border kind of thing or stop us from entering into the country. They don't have a right to search our cargo. Nothing of that. They can get angry at these machines, but the machine is going to fire back at them and they probably won't make it through the night. So, we've had this technology for a long time. We have. We've had autonomous technology that does this for a long time. If you look at the technologies that are dispersed for us humans, out there, even ATM machines, why is there no security on there? And I'm not even talking like a person.
Right. I know.
There's not even a dang panic button. You know what I mean? Like, Shouldn't there be something like hit **3 or something, and the ATM machine will shut down and not take any more money out of your account for 24 hours? Like it'll shut down permanently or something for 24 hours?
Yeah, you would think, huh?
No kidding. They got a camera. Whoopie-doo. Nobody comes anyway. But we know who killed the guy at the machine, though, after he's dead, or she's dead. Jeez. Yeah. We've had this technology for eons, decades. I mean, there is no reason why we shouldn't be using these technologies anyway. So we're just going to go ahead and do it on our own. Forget these people. I've talked about different ways of even cybersecurity and other things we're working on. So we just got to get rid of it. We've got to. It's got to happen. I can't express to you the feeling I have of moving forward and how good it feels to create, while being extremely detail oriented. So.
Well, that's what we were created to do, right? To create alongside Source. So that's why it feels so good. And I think all of humanity, we're looking forward to that because that's who we are as humans. We weren't meant to be living the way we've been living for so long. And so it's just like this beautiful relief. Even as you're talking, I'm like, yes, please, more. That sounds amazing. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we can develop our own new security things over time and distribution and electric and different things. And, unfortunately, a lot of it's going to be autonomous. So we'll let the system over there attack them for doing stupid things. And we'll just keep going on our side. So reweaving the fabric of reality with the people that we're trying to protect is what's going to work. So,
and I think that's good too, because everyone, well, at least our audience that knows what's going on, they want to help. I feel like there's a lot of people that are, kind of waiting, and we've talked about that a little bit. Just start, do something. But I think as more people have an opportunity to help and there's an actual position or something that they can physically do or get involved with this group or this project is going on here. I just think that that's going to ignite something in their spirit that makes them want to do more. And that's contagious in a good way, not a viral way, a good way.
Yep. Wow. And, everybody that we talk to, it kind of takes them, like they might be doing something similar, but it takes them out of their comfort zone and allows them to think about, we can make that with this machine. We don't have to make that. We can make this. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And of course, eventually it's not going to be one company, supplying for the world. We can't have that happen anymore.
No.
But, they seem to be good people. Everybody I've talked to seems to be willing to help and capable of doing so. None of them are operatives in any way. They're just some of them. Matter of fact, it's funny. I was talking to some guys that they pretty much restore classic cars and that kind of thing, but they're also veterans, right? Mm-hmm. And, a lot of them, you can't find parts for these classic cars. So they've kind of been rigging things together or even making them themselves. They've become pretty, and there's a couple of them that are known for doing that, making replicated parts. They're not original parts, but hey, they work in that particular vehicle. So, we were talking about these armored vehicles and certain things that we think we should have in place. And them as veterans, I just gave candy to babies there, like they were so happy and so excited, and they're going to run some cost and some numbers and sourcing of metals and that kind of thing, because they're doing it now anyway on a really small scale, but even taking companies like that and being like, hey, how would you feel about maybe doing something like this? And they're like, what are we doing? And I kind of told them what the plan, some of the plan, of course, never tell everybody all your plan.
Sure.
And, they were like, oh, that would be so fun, so they're going to run costs and that kind of thing. And it would all go under the radar because you don't know who they are. How many people do that, around not only the U.S., but around the world,
That's a good idea in general to reach out to veteran-run businesses because they have that kind of perspective, like you said. Yeah. And our patriots, want to help, want to do good,
Sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And one of the companies is currently, and they make these nano coatings. They're called nano coatings. And they were manufacturing things like, it's not a cleaner. How do I explain this? A disinfectant surface. So you kind of wash your floor with this, for like surgical rooms and that kind of thing. But a lot of it involves, nanotechnology and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And maybe it's not going to use actual magnetics. Maybe it'll use something else. And, could we get this in a nano form? Could we get this in a nano coating form? And they were like, yeah. Can we get this kind of metal in a nano coating form, that kind of thing. And it took them a little bit out of their wheelhouse, but they're like, yeah, we should be able to. Like, we can manufacture this really, I'm reaching out there and going beyond the normal way of manufacturing things. But companies that are like close enough to where I'm pretty sure I could retrofit a couple of those machines and make it. So,
okay.
Just interesting thoughts, huh?
Yeah, totally. So,
yeah,
go ahead. Finish what
I was just going to say they're having a hard time selling their current product. They also make coatings for windows, for bulletproof glass, that kind of thing, hurricane proof. And apparently they're getting a lot of pushback. So they're more than happy to kind of consider anything that fights against the big corporates.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's us for sure.
That's us.
So what about the funding to pay for this, though? Can we do this with what we already have? Do we need the global repository for this?
Well, I'm building. Yes, we do. But with the new changes that I've been making, I'm hoping, I don't have a concern much longer. Even if I have to go to an ATM machine, a network or something like that and go direct there and, either pull out cash or make transfers, because you can do transfers to accounts and stuff via the ATM machines. And then I just need to create some kind of an online portal for it. So even if I have to bypass it at this point, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm just building. I'm spending less time destroying now and spending more time creating. And that's the main difference in my schedule for the last, I guess it's been almost a week. Tomorrow would be a week. So I've accomplished a lot in a week. Not being, killing the deep state 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. So doesn't mean we're not ever mindful. Like, of course, yesterday's situation. I'm like, oh, come on. Right. I'm all happy. I've got music in my ears. I'm creating all these new things. And, I'm going to town. I'm finishing up our, not the actual marketplace, but I'm finishing up our little store, for our oils so we can get those out to you guys soon. And hopefully, God willing, by next week this time you'll be able to have it. So nice. It's pretty close. It's really close. There's a few little tweaks we have to do and that should come online. The marketplace meetings are going really, really well. We've come up with some new ways too in the last week for that. Interesting things we're working on. What if you could actually buy a car at 2:00 in the morning and have it at your front door by the next morning? So we're working on some softwares and some tweaking to doing stuff like that. What if you're an artist and you want to do a private showing for a potential buyer? Could you do by private showing, I mean, a video conference where you tell them about the piece and, why you created it and, the energy behind it, whatever you want to discuss about your piece of art, in order to sell more art of your personal artwork. Wouldn't that be kind of cool to have a really pretty online gallery, not pretty, but attractive online gallery. But not only that, you could communicate with the artist,
Yeah.
you know, and say, I'm interested in buying your piece. I'd like to schedule a private showing. And of course, if you're an artist, you don't have to do private showings, but you can if you want to. And you probably sell more art that way. We're also working on in another phase. So this would probably be about phase 3 or phase 4. We're working on things like trade shows, online trade shows. I've
always thought that was a good idea. Years ago, I was like, because I'd be going to trade shows for different projects and stuff that I was working on. And I was like, there's so many people that can't get out and get to these trade shows. Why isn't there an easy way to do this online that's still personable? I mean, this is like 10 years ago I was thinking this. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that, I mean, 1 week literally of just saying, okay, let the system run this way, detect the thread, you know, do the thing, and kind of leave me out of it. You know, call me if there's a problem. Like there was some alerts last night. That's not what it does. It doesn't actually, hey, Kim, wake up now. It's 2 a.m., you know.
Plays a cute little tune,
there's an alert that goes off. Let's just put it this way. So there's an alert that goes off if there's any kind of major problems. But for the most part, you know, it's been a few hours a day, not 15, not 20. So that's good. We pretty much successfully have them going around in a circle now. You know, and other than this type of thing that causes an issue, I don't even care what they do anymore. Don't care what they do with the governments. Don't care. Don't care what they do with the military. Don't care. Don't care what they do with operatives. Don't care. You can have them. Y'all enjoy going around in your circle. Have fun. Remember to switch it up. You know, go around to the left and around to the right. You know, switch it back and forth sometimes. But other than that, I've done so much in a week that propels us forward, which then creates that energy going towards something else. So therefore, the other energy will flow toward that something else. And the only thing money is going to do is amplify it. Not money, but currency. Got to stop calling it money. Currency is going to do is amplify everything that we're doing. I mean, even the marketplace. I can do all of this right. We are doing it right now. I mean, it costs us nothing to pick up the phone and, you know, start negotiating with car manufacturers. And, hey, you want to book a trip? You can book it on the marketplace too, you know, or a hotel. By the way, do you need, you know, some snorkeling equipment to go with that? Sure. You know, things to consider for your trip. I mean, wouldn't that be really cool?
That'd be beautiful. One-stop shop. Yeah.
That's right. It's time to be innovative. It's time to do something new, something different, you know. Hey, you might need this jacket from North Face since you're going to climb Mount Everest, you know. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm not North Face jacket, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it. Even though it's kind of one-stop shopping, it's still coming from the people. The people are supplying the goods, not the corporations and all of this. It's coming from you guys, you know, and hopefully you're doing it because you love to do it, whatever it is that you're creating or service you're providing. And so it's just more of that.
Look, you booked a gym membership. Perhaps you need this bamboo yoga wear, you know?
Yeah, that was created by a person probably in their home or whatever, small business. And and you were able to connect that way.
Well, and to go back, hey, I hear you're climbing Mount Everest. You may want to consider this hemp insulated jacket. No, they actually make them. They're super warm.
I bet
it's probably one of the warm. A friend of mine had one. It was the warmest jacket I've ever worn in my life.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yep. Yeah, it was awesome. And, you know, most of them are made by small companies, too. They're kind of expensive, you know, but oh my gosh.
Probably because a lot of people aren't buying them because they don't, you know, aren't even aware of it. It's probably not that the hemp is expensive or, you know, like we said, it grows pretty quickly. So, you know, it's probably just a matter of distribution and to bring down costs.
Yeah, the whole jacket was made except for the lining. The lining was not a real fur. It was like a fake fur. So like it would be like a shearling kind of thing. It would be comfortable against your skin, you know, but oh my gosh, the warmest jacket I have ever, I mean, it could be give it to me. I don't even care. Minus 30 out there. And I wouldn't even feel a thing. That jacket kept me so warm. I basically wanted to steal it from my friend, but I was like, no, you know, that's not right. I could never find where they got it from either.
I've also heard that alpaca fur, which by the way, they do not hurt the animals. It's like, you know, shearing a sheep.
Yeah.
But alpaca wool or fur, whatever they call it, is really, really good for like ponchos, sweaters, like really, kind of thick stuff, probably jackets too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a whole world out there that really hasn't been explored because these huge corporations are just bombarding us with their stuff. So once that's out of the picture,
there's actually, believe it or not, so, you got to go pretty far in a ways in, and you probably need a 4-wheel drive vehicle or some kind of a ATV to get there. But there's actually a little house with a little pack farm up there. They probably do that every winter and make their own clothes and stuff. I don't know. But it's just like on the side of the non-road road, and you're like, oh, okay. There's some alpacas. Who knew?
I think I need some alpaca socks. Actually, that's
yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder if they're comfortable.
Probably. I mean, I've actually felt the alpaca like a heavy jacket kind of thing, and it was comfortable. Beautiful too. They had different dyes and stuff and designs.
I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed with the hemp jackets, though, truth be told. So I'm hoping one of you watching this makes hemp jackets or is considering making a hemp jacket. Or, wow, what a great idea, Kim. Let's make some hemp jackets because I could definitely use a hemp jacket,
There you go.
I haven't looked in a couple of years, but wherever she got that jacket from, I need that jacket. That's all I'm going to say. I want that jacket. But moving on. So before we go real quick, I just wanted to say happy birthday to Kaylin. And if you don't know Kaylin, I'm sure you know Kaylin. Kaylin is the one that introduces all our field messenger reports. He is our other messenger other than Sunny. So he's done an amazing job with UNN, and we hope he has a really wonderful day. So on that note, let her rip, Mike.
This is Kaylin Gibb.